Tetairoa McMillan, wide receiver for the Carolina Panthers, was the 8th overall pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, and he will be one of the most impactful rookies during the 2025 NFL season.
You are Locked On NFL Draft, your daily podcast covering the NFL Draft. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to the Locked On NFL Draft Podcast, your daily podcast covering your favorite draft prospects, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your boy, Damian Parson. I'm an NFL draft analyst with Bleacher Report. And guys, thank you as always for making Locked On NFL Draft your first listen today and every day. Shout for being our every dayers. We have a fun one talking about some rookies in training camp. I'm sorry, not in mini camp, in training camp. Week 2 of training camp is underway. We're going to talk about Tetairoa McMillan, the 8th overall pick from the 2025 NFL Draft, the wide receiver for the Carolina Panthers, and how big of an impact he will have and why he can help either prove that Bryce is the guy or prove they need to move on. Matthew Golden's path to being wide receiver one thing that's been consistent for the Green Bay Packers, no one knows who's the top dog in that wide receiver room is, and I believe it is Matthew Golden, and we're going to close this thing out. We're talking about a guy that was drafted a couple seasons ago, Evan Neal, for the New York Giants, and why it could be a great fit at the offensive guard position. Guys, let's get into it. Tetairoa McMillan is going to help the Carolina Panthers figure out whether or not Bryce Young is their franchise quarterback or they need to enter the 2026 NFL offseason and draft with QB at the top of their list. Tetairoa McMillan, 6'4", 215 pounds, big body wide receiver, good route runner, space creation, create separation, ball skills, works so well in the nitty-gritty parts of the field, talking about between the numbers, between the hashes, in the middle of the field. Tetairoa McMillan is going to, one of the big reasons why he's going to have a huge impact on this offense, he's that prototypical X, but he can play every other position as well. He can play the slot and be a power slot. He can play the Z as well, right? He can play every wide receiver position. He's that talented, and with his frame, it opens up, creativity in terms of alignment, formations, things of that nature, by also creating mismatches. You don't want a 5'9" nickel in the slot against Tetairoa McMillan in the red zone. That's some Brandon Marshall type stuff, man. Was it I think it might have been when Brandon Marshall was still with the Bears, I believe, either Bears or Broncos. I remember they played, I think it was San Fran, on like maybe a Sunday night game decade or whatever ago, and he was cooking. And he was cooking from the slot, and especially in the red zone. T-Mac can do those things. But a big reason why he will have an impact is he's going to allow everyone else in that receiver room to align at their traditional positions. Xavier Legette's not a traditional X. I don't think he's a guy that you want living and breathing and everything else for 100% of the game as your X receiver. He's more of that explosive Z. So that can also play in the slot. And my thing is, when you look at Dave Canales and his background, he came from Tampa. His most recent stop was OC at Tampa. What did they have there? He had Mike Evans. He had Chris Godwin. I think that's what he's trying to build with Tetairoa McMillan, who comps to Mike Evans. And honestly, Xavier Legette, who comps to Chris Godwin. Right? So if you wanted to put Xavier Legette and make him your full-time slot, I promise you, I think he will cook a lot there. Right? You're talking about chef hat, everything. We cooking with gas right now. I think that would be a situation. But nonetheless, you can play Xavier Legette because of his speed. He ran good routes. He separated last year. He just didn't catch the ball. So now that pressure, and because they did this with Jonathan Mingo, when they traded away all that capital to go get Bryce, they traded away DJ Moore as well. And when you traded away DJ Moore, what did that do for you? That took away your top receiver. So then you go and trade up or whatever and take a Jonathan Mingo who's extremely raw, had no business being drafted that high and had been put in that position. Well, they traded up in the round 1 last year with the Buffalo Bills, right? They trade up and they go get, I think, Xavier Legette out of their backyard here, out of Columbia, South Carolina with the Gamecocks. And they say, you're going to be our number 1. And it's like, You didn't learn the first time, did you? You didn't learn. So when I look at that situation, yes, T-Mac's going to allow Xavier Legette to play his normal role. Coker, who has a nice, really big fan base amongst, I think, fantasy community with the Panther fans, and he's a solid player. If he's your number 2, you're in trouble, personally. That's how I personally look at that situation. Solid player, not a needle mover for me. I think that he can be a good 3, right? You talking about your big 3, your trio of receivers. I think he can be that third option, right? I don't want him against the top corner or the second best corner on the team. You know what I mean? I want him in the slot, honestly. So, like, to me, when Adam Thielen walks off and retires, or maybe he tries to go free agency again, get another contract and play one more time, maybe chase a ring next year, or whenever his contract is up. I think it is this coming off season. I say you put Jalen Coker right in that spot, in the slot, right? Unless Hunter Renfrow doesn't want to give it up, and he's made his comeback to the league. But Tetairoa McMillan is going to allow all those guys to do their jobs and play their roles. He can play all their roles in terms of all the alignments, but none of them can play the true X. None of them can really be the X receiver and carry the load as the X receiver. And you think about those 3rd and 5s, those key downs, those money downs. Bryce is a smart, instinctive, headsy football player and quarterback. He anticipates well. He sees it well when he can see, right? Like all those things. Giving him a guy on 3rd and 5 that can run that slant and convert that for a first down, like a T-Mac, and especially because I think it was the Eagles game. Bryce threw Xavier Legette a high pass in the middle of the field into a kill shot. Like, that was one of those what we call hospital balls. Yeah, I was like, Bryce, you can't do that, bro. Like, you cannot do that. Like, you know what I mean? That's a veteran receiver. You getting chewed out, big dog. You can't throw that pass and make that guy on a slant or an in cut have to elevate, arms up, helmet a higher throw in the middle of the field where linebackers and safeties are diverging, and his rib cage is open. He's open. You basically made him bait to the Sharks. You don't do that to your receiver. T-Mac's a guy at 6'4" that you could put it where Xavier Legette 6 foot, 6'1". You could put it at 6'2", 6'3", and it's not too high for him. You could put it at 6'4", and he's probably going to be fine, right? You might want to keep it down to 6'2.5", 6'3", so it could be right around the chin strap or face mask. He just catches it and keeps it going. You don't want to open him up, but that's what he's going to be able to do. Give him that prototypical guy, the back shoulder fade. Bryce is, and here's what Bryce struggled. This is my second point, guys. Bryce was not good in the intermediate per NFL Pro last year. And in the intermediate, we're talking about 10 to 19 air yards down the field. 100 attempts, 49 completions, 824 of his passing yards, 5 touchdowns, 6 of his interceptions, a 68.9 passer rating, 49% completion percentage, a completion percentage over expectation of negative 0.9. You got to be able to drive those throws in those areas of the field, man, because you're not going to be able to anticipate everything. Keith is really big about anticipate. I'm big on anticipation as well, but anticipation with the arm that can't get the ball there through and cut through wind and cut through defenders and cut through coverages means absolutely nothing to me. So Bryce anticipates well, but giving him a guy like a T-Mac, big target that can sit in the middle of those zones, different things like that. Bryce will slice and dice his zone defense up. Okay, he'll slice and dice it up. You're going to have to call some man beaters to help him out against man coverage. He'll slice and dice that zone up. So I think with T-Mac, I think what you're going to get is a guy that's going to help Bryce out a lot in the intermediate parts of the field, whether it's the end cuts or even just on the outside. That back shoulder fade is going to be there, man. The vertical plays. Bryce is so good creating explosive horizontal plays, crossers, things of that nature, mesh concept, getting it out there early, layering the ball. He's great at that. And then, of course, he's got the Houdini package, that Houdini badge, like off of 2K, where when he enables that badge and he's rolling and he's able to make plays out of nothing. Yes, it's a real thing. So T-Mac, man, Tetairoa McMillan is going to be a big-time player, an impact player for the Carolina Panthers. But next up, guys, we're going to talk about Green Bay Packers and Matthew Golden. This is the podcast that told you for my everydayers. This is the podcast. Keith brought him up. I stamped him. We both told you Matthew Golden was a first-round pick. We're going to talk about his path to wide receiver 1 coming up next. This episode is presented by Yahoo Fantasy. Fantasy football is back. Fire up the group chat, get your draft board ready, and buckle up for a season filled with breakouts, busts, and all the overreactions we live for. It's all going down on Yahoo Fantasy. This year, me and the Locked On NFL Draft podcast are playing on Yahoo Fantasy, and you should too. Whether you're a first-timer or a veteran making your millionth league. To celebrate 28 years of fantasy greatness, Yahoo Fantasy is dropping 28 big new features over 28 days, giving you more ways to play, more ways to draft, and more ways to win. And it all begins August the 4th, baby. Stay tuned and get started by creating or joining a Yahoo Fantasy Football League at yahoofantasy.com/lockedonnfl. That's Yahoo fantasy.com/lockedonnfl, and let's make this fantasy season the best one yet. The 23rd pick in the first round of the 2025 NFL Draft, former Texas Longhorn and Houston Cougar wide receiver Matthew Golden, a guy that, again, on the Locked On NFL Draft podcast, we're going to beat our chests and pat our backs just a little bit, because we told you guys ahead of time, you need to know about Matthew Golden. And this is a young man who ran a 4.3 or something like that at the combine. Like, Matthew Golden was a receiver that we didn't know, like, if he was going to get the target share. He ran the 4.29 at the combine. We didn't know if he was going to get the target share in Texas with I forget the receiver's name that was there last year, but like all the heavy receivers there coming from Bama, all that type of stuff like that. We didn't know, right? And then mid-season into that playoff stretch, Matthew Golden became the golden boy. And I think for the Green Bay Packers, he needs to be their golden boy. He needs to be the young man, the number one option in their passing attack from a receiver standpoint. They got Tucker Kraft, things like that. They're going to run the ball with Josh Jacobs. You have a healthy Jordan Love back. Matthew Golden and that 4.29 speed. People said that speed didn't translate to the field. Well, it's funny because I think yesterday at practice, Ryan Wood tweeted out, I believe, one of the beat reporters and things like that, for USA Today. He tweeted out that Matthew Golden, during practice yesterday, caught a 60-yard bomb from Jordan Love. He beat Nate Hobbs and Evan Williams, the safety. He split them to get wide open on the deep corner route. He beat them both on the deep corner route, outraced them both to the end zone. He said the rookie has been absolutely balling out today. And when you think about the fact that Matthew Golden has the speed to win vertical plane, he has the speed to win on the horizontal plays, all of that. This is the guy. And we know that they have our other guy that we told you guys about when I think our first year with the pod, Jaden Reed out of Michigan State, kind of the do-it-all, manufacture touch, yak. He can do all those things. Matthew Golden and Jaden Reed can be on the field together. Because to me, Matthew Golden, you can live. He's not going to play a traditional X spot, in my opinion. He can play the slot, but he absolutely is a Z. And I think, you can put like a Romeo Dobbs. If Christian Watson does come back and he's healthy and ready to go, Dontavian Wicks, whatever bigger receiver you want as your X, put him there. Put Jaden Reed into the slot and let Matthew Golden live at that Z spot and get him the ball. Those quick hitches, he can run some option choice routes. He can make the deep curls, the 7 stops, things of that nature. He can run those, guys. He can absolutely run those routes. And for a Packers offense that, again, you walk into every game and you don't really know, well, who's our guy? Like, who's who? And sometimes that's actually a good thing, right? Like, the defense has to play you honest when they don't know who's your number one target. But they have a guy that, if they do it right, if they handle it right, you're going to look at defenses break the huddle, watch the Packers offense break the huddle, and it's going to be, where's Waldo? And it's going to be where's, because I think his number is 22. I don't like that number for a receiver. It's actually an ugly number. But Matthew Golden's my guy. I just wish he picked a different number, man. Because you would have went with 2 for all I care. Just don't do 22. But nonetheless, I support my guy. But yes, I mean, when you think about it, like, teams are going to be looking for 22. receiver. Where does Matthew Golden? Where does he go? What is he doing? What are they doing with him? Is he in motion? Whatever the case may be. All of that's going to be questions for the defense if they feed him and pepper him with targets. Again, they have plenty of receiving options. Like Luke Musgrave at tight end, who's like the tight end too, who can't stay healthy, if I remember correctly. Tucker Kraft, Josh Jacobs to catch the ball in the backfield and everything, man. So they have multiple pass catching options. Now, of course, you want Jordan Love healthy, ready to go this year. You want Jordan Love to play the point guard role and everything. But Matthew Golden brings that deep speed that Jordan Love that he loves. No pun intended. Jordan loves the deep ball. He loves to be able to push the ball down the field and really make those highlight splash throws and plays and create and generate explosives. And you can do that with a guy like Matthew Golden. So at the end of the day, I just kind of look at everything that he's going to bring to the table for this offense. And there's a path for him to end up at the end of 2025, end of his rookie season. There's a path for him to walk out of this season. And everybody say, listen, there's a new sheriff in town. There's an unquestioned receiver that's the wide receiver one now. And that is Matthew Golden. He's strong-handed. He makes adjustments on underthrown passes, right? And again, when people make comments like, oh, his speed didn't show up on tape. And I'm like, well, he was playing with Quinn Ewers. And no disrespect to Quinn. Quinn does not have a great arm. Quinn can't push the ball down the field consistently. Like, so when you're limited in the routes you can run, I think that's the other thing when people talk about arm talent. Again, me and Keith he talks about it a lot. Like he's more on the accuracy and ball placement, and I'm all for that too. But if you can't get the ball, like what good is Mac Jones to me if you can't get the ball to the receivers consistently? When I'm playing, because whenever you got a weak arm, I'm playing man coverage. I'm making these windows tight. Zip it, drive it, push it. Can you do those things? And typically guys that don't have the arm talent can't do those. So again, in the deep balls, you turn those into 50-50 throws because the ball's in the thrown, right? So yes, like the route selection at times was a little limited at Texas with Matthew Golden because Quinn just couldn't push the ball down the field. But when they allowed him to open, you saw the speed and the explosiveness of a Matthew Golden when he caught those hitches and those curl routes at 7 to 10 yards, work down the stem, secure the ball, and immediately turn, pivot, and become a runner. Yeah, you didn't, because typically those type of throws, a corner diverges, he closes, and he makes a tackle. You got to be like A+ timing with a guy like Matthew Golden because he's so quick with it and so explosive to where he catches it, he becomes a runner almost instantaneously. So, yes, when at the end of the day, guys, when I look at Matthew Golden, there's a clear path for him to be that wide receiver one. And I think seeing the tweets, seeing the reports, and how he dominated and balled out yesterday, what are we going to see with Matthew Golden? I think that's going to be the key is how do you integrate him into the short to intermediate outside of the curls and hitches? Can you get him on some slants? Can you get him on some dig routes? Things like that. If they're able to get him going in the short game and intermediate, that deep ball is going to open up that deep ball. And I think Jordan Love is going to absolutely be happy, ecstatic to let that just to rip one of those 60-yarders against single high coverage against a corner that can't run with Matthew Golden. And he's a really good route salesman too. Like he sells routes and stems and attacks leverage. Well, I'm just getting y'all prepared, man. Bullish. All right, bullish with a question mark. Am I bullish on Matthew Golden? Well, let's just say I'm the bull. You got the red, whatever, right? And I'm getting it going. The horns are pointed. I'm ready to run through a wall for Matthew Golden because I truly believe he can help transform the Green Bay Packers passing attack. And I think they need a talent like him and a guy not just with his talent, but with his mental makeup, work ethic, the way he plays, the toughness, all of it, man. Yeah, I think Green Bay, I think they have him one. They typically do. They have a long lineage of really good wide receivers, man. Donald Driver, Greg Jennings, Levante Adams, Jordy Nelson, like the list goes on. They're just so good at it, man. Just so good at it. Guys, coming up next, we're going to close this show out talking about the New York Giants offensive lineman Evan Neal. Does it look like he's about to turn the corner, just not at right tackle? That and more coming up next. Time to fuel up and turn it up with 5-Hour Energy Transfusion. It brings the bold grape, ginger, and lime flavor of your favorite golf drink, minus the alcohol, into a quick, energizing shot. Whether you're sinking birdies or just making memories with friends, this one's a hole-in-one with for your favorite energy game. Let's be honest, some days on the course or off it, you just need an extra boost to stay energized and engaged. Golf is all about good times with good people and good flavors, of course. The grape ginger lime flavor gives you the best parts of your clubhouse go-to without chasing down the bev cart. If you go to 5hourenergy.com today, that is the number 5hourenergy.com, you can use my promo code LOCKEDONGOLF to receive 20% off your order. This offer is only valid until September 30th on one order and cannot be used with other promotions. This code is not good on subscription orders. Whether you're meeting up with friends or trying to turn 18 holes into 36, get the energizing boost you need to power through. Order transfusion-flavored 5-Hour Energy shots today. Thank you for making Locked On NFL Draft your first listen today and every day. Shout out for being our everydayers. Evan Neal, the former top 10 pick for the New York Giants. This is a young man that has been polarizing in his career with the Giants. The Giants fans and everyone else they've not been happy with the play they've seen at right tackle. And I'll never forget being at the Draft Network with Keith, and he got on our scouting calls and said, listen, he's two different players when he plays guard and tackle. He said that to us. He actually was like, I need to write two different reports because if he plays guard, that's one report. If he plays tackle, that's one report. Also, he said the fact that he was a better left tackle than right tackle. And then, but they already had Andrew Thomas, and that's always listen, guys, that's always the thing with these tackles. Just because you can flip a guy to the opposite side doesn't mean it's going to work out. So got to be careful with that. But so far, looking at what's been going on in New York Giants camp, yeah, Evan Neal at guard seems to be the play. And he did the press conference after, practice, and he talked about, hey, I will line up wherever the team needs me. If they need me at guard, they need me at tackle, whatever they need. I think they need to go ahead. Their right guard spot, I believe, is open for them. He should be kind of the shoe-in. Because when you see his power, his strength, his anchor, and when you limit and shorten the range of the motion and where he needs to, how much range he has to have, laterally with his footwork and everything. Playing guard, you're more in the phone booth, right? More in the phone booth, more in the box. You don't have on the outside. We can wide nine you and pull you out here away from America. We'll pull you out here on this just forgotten island by yourself. And now you got to fend for yourself, right? And that's where only the greatest tackles can do those things. When you get pulled out on an island and it's you and that edge rusher firing full-headed speed, and now he's got so much space to attack you. Whether he can go inside, right? They take the inside lane. He can go the outside lane and run the arc. Or he can give you the euro into the long arm, into the speed, the power. When you are put in those positions, it causes some problems, man. So with Evan Neal being able to play guard, limit the range he has to cover, limit the ground he has to be responsible for, right? That's going to allow him to play his best ball. And the clips that have come out from camp have been, this past week have been good, man. You see him just be a wall. You see defensive ends and defensive tackles trying to rush through him, and watching him set his feet so quickly, right? Get his feet underneath them. His hands are in the active and reactive position. He's protecting his chest, and when his hands hit and when he lands those punches, man, you see the jolt, you see the shock, you see the power that Evan Neal has, and it's outstanding to watch. But not only that, there was a rep, I believe, against the number 2 overall pick in this year's draft, Abdul Carter. And Abdul Man, Abdul Bull start you with the power bull rush, hit you with a spin with the dip rip move. He will throw multiple moves at you in a sequence because he's just that good. He's that guy, right? And to be honest with you, Evan Neal held his own so well, man. Like he gave us some initial, because that's the thing. When you got those type of rushers who can rush inside and out, and they're able to throw multiple moves where you can't latch your hands and just drop your anchor and kill the rep, right? Like you're not able to do that because they just keep working. They just keep working. That's what Abdul Carter was doing. But guess what he didn't do? He didn't get to the quarterback because eventually you saw the anchor drop and you saw Evan Neal stonewall him. And I was like, there we go. So Evan Neal, to me, should play guard for the New York Giants. And this, not for his sake, especially, this is how you get your next contract with the team, right? You go and really handle your business at guard, right? The quickest path to the quarterback is up the middle of the offensive line. If you can go out there and secure the interior offensive line, lock it down, shut it down, keep it, and make it that comfortable for especially Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson's not like Bryce. Russell Wilson's not a tall quarterback. So what do you want? You want to be able to protect him in the pocket. You want to be able to keep the interior pocket clean. So Russ can step up, find throw lanes, and throw the ball to him elite neighbors, albeit that he's healthy, because I saw that he had a shoulder situation at practice yesterday. That's the thing with these full pads. And I'm gonna get back on my soapbox. Bring the full pads back more often, man. Bring it back more often, man. Let's build up that callus, huh? Let's build up the callus on the bodies of these players, man. Guys are getting dinged up and banged up too early in training camp, man. Second week. It's because we keep going out here with shells and shorts and shirts and shorts. Forget all that. Let's get back to pads, man. I'm just saying. Just a 35-year-old, about to be 36-year-old this Thursday, by the way. Individual man who loves the game of football. Just saying, let's bring it back to physicality. Let's really help our players. But nonetheless, guys, I think Evan Neal at the offensive guard spot is going to. I think it's going to do well. If he ends up being the starter, I think he's going to do well. But guys, that's the show, man. We talked about Evan Neal, how he could be great at the offensive guard position for the New York Giants. Matthew Golden's path to wide receiver 1 for the Green Bay Packers, and Tetairoa McMillan's impact on the Carolina Panthers and offense, and Bryce Young, whether he's the quarterback or if he's not. We'll find out this season in 2025. But guys, go subscribe and follow for free on YouTube, wherever you listen to podcasts, to get this episode as soon as it is available. Thank you for making Locked On NFL Draft your first listen today and every day. Shout out for being our everydayers. And guys, coming up on tomorrow, we're going to talk about Cam Ward. We're going to talk about Shedeur Sanders. Okay, we're going to talk about those quarterbacks that were tied together this draft cycle until they were split apart by 4 rounds. We'll talk about what these guys are, what these young men are doing in camp, the ebbs and flows, the peaks and valleys, all that on tomorrow's show. Come join the conversation again tomorrow on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.